First, thank you, Mike, for agreeing to talk with us. We appreciate your time and your ever-changing schedule. Would you please introduce yourself to us and tell us about your role at the fire department?
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Joan, for that introduction there. My name is Michael Riley. I'm the Deputy Chief of EMS. That's EMS stands for Emergency Medical Services. As many of you may be aware, the fire department provides emergency or medical services for 911 citizens. And it's pretty predominantly, that's majority of our calls. I think the last time we did data on it or pulled data on it, it was about 75 to 80% of our calls are medical in nature. And my responsibility is pretty much all the medical training, the medical accreditation, the compliance, the regulations, anything our crews do medically falls under my division. I've been on with the fire department for a little over about 18 and a half years. So that tells you a little bit about myself and what I do in my role as Deputy Chief of EMS for the Gilbert Fire and Rescue Department.
Well, I know all the residents of Gilbert sure appreciate having you on. My first question would be, what will EMS be looking for when they arrive at a patient's location? In other words, how will you assess us?
So I thank you for asking that question. So it obviously depends on the nature of the call, why we're called out there that day. But if we have, we'll refer to it as a sick patient and somebody that and I hope I don't murder it here, myasthenia gravis, and we have a patient that, is experiencing an episode, first thing we're going to do is to make sure that they're able to respond to our commands. So we're going to check what we refer to as A&O times 4 questions. We'll be asking those. Can the patient can the patient answer who they are, where they're located, the time of day it is, and who the President of the United States is? Those are some of the questions that we may ask a patient. Other things that we'll be doing assessing are vital signs, blood pressure, pulse, how many respirations they have. We may hook them up on a cardiac monitor and read their EKG. But we're not only assessing the mentation of the patient, but we're also assessing the vital signs. So those are some things on the immediate assessment that we're going to do.
Okay, thank you for that. So for example, with myasthenia gravis, if our diaphragm is weak and we can't take in a breath, we can't go, that means we're in trouble. And if you give us oxygen here, we won't be able to take it in. What is there that how can we tell you that? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joan, to interrupt you there. But, I think it's important that if you don't have, let's call it a caretaker, a family member there, we need some type of identification of the disease process that you have. And so I think I've shared with you, Joan, a form that we pass out to some of our patients that may be living in a senior facility that details totally who you are, your name, along with your medical conditions, along with your medications that you're on. If you have that in someplace, either where you can hand it to us or on a refrigerator or someplace close where we can able to use it, that's very important for us, because then that's obviously going to affect the treatment and the assessment that we are, doing on you as a patient.
Absolutely. Do you routinely check things like I've got a little medical alert bracelet here? Is that something that is routinely checked? Because I've heard some people say they don't think they check it.
No, for sure. Our medics and our EMTs on the fire truck, and along with our medic and EMT on our ambulance, they should be checking that. That's part of that assessment. One of the things that we do, obviously, is a detailed assessment. We talked about our primary assessment. When we come up and we get those vital signs and we check your mentation, we're probably also going to do it. We should be doing a detailed assessment, and that's a head to toe assessment to make sure that, you don't have any deformities, abrasions, cuts, anything along the lines of that. And that's where hopefully that bracelet will be identified by one of our members, and they'll be able to say, hey, you know what? This patient here has myasthenia gravis. So
I have a question, because it's a rare disease and because there's so many rare diseases, you can't possibly, the fire department and all the people that come to respond can't possibly know all of those diseases. So when you check the medical alert bracelet, what do they do when they check it? What does that involve?
You know, that's a very good question. So, Dova, is if we are not familiar with the disease process, we have an iPad there. It has internet connection. We can basically look up that disease process and identify, hey, what are some signs and symptoms that are associated with myasthenia gravis? We also have the opportunity to call a hospital, and we have a base hospital, which in Gilbert is Mercy Gilbert. And we have the opportunity to talk to a doctor saying, hey, this is the condition of the patient. This is what they're experiencing. This is their disease process that they have. Can you tell us exactly what's going on here? So we have tools or resources that we can use to inform us of or educate us on, disease processes that are not very common.
Thank you, Mike. The MGFA has an actual several pages that we've been asking people to print out, and it tells information that should be given to EMS if they show up on what to do when we can't talk, for example. Is that something that would be helpful to you?
Yeah, I think in the fire service and as first responders, there's no such thing as, too much information. So, pamphlets like that, sheets of paper like that, all that information is going to be super, super beneficial to us, to say the least.
And also, since most of us are under the care of a neurologist, which, there might or might not be at Gilbert Hospital, for example, that probably would be a good idea to have somewhere handy the phone number for our neurologist.
Yeah, 100%. All that medical information, Joan, if you remember that form that I sent to you, if that form, along with any other medical information that you believe is going to be pertinent to your care, if that can be kept in a folder or kept in a location in your house where either you can point to it, the caretaker can grab it, or unfortunately, if you're not able to talk to us, where we can see it and say, hey, you know what? I recognize that form. I recognize this packet. Let me take this with us.
And we would love to, the MGFA would love to be able to post a form like that on the website. We could use it, we can use it for everyone. It doesn't have to just be the local fire department. That would be great for all of our patients. The other thing I was going to ask, I think Joan has this on her questions, but while we're talking about it, we do have a wallet card that we have people fill out to keep in their wallet that has their neurologist, their symptoms, their medications. At what point in the process when someone calls 911 would a paramedic look for someone's wallet?
Well, we're probably not going to go through your belongings, to be honest with you. There's a chance that we will, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen on every single call. So it's important that, those type of belongings that is going to affect your treatment is in a position where we're going to be able to easily grab it or retrieve it for you, or you hand us your wallet and, point to that card. We're not going to go through somebody's purse. We're not going to go through somebody's wallet. That's not what we do in the fire service. So.
Well, that's a good tip to let people know, and maybe Dova at some point, that'll be something we can put on the website, because everybody's got a wallet card. Well, most people that have this, but like Mike just said, if they can't get to it, at least maybe keep one in your wallet and maybe keep one tacked up on the refrigerator or something.
Right, and we do recommend people have one. Like have their caregiver have one as well in their wallet so they can get to it quickly and give it to whoever, any medical professional, either paramedic or in the emergency room. So because then that has the list of medications, which is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing, Mike, I've heard that it's a good idea to actually visit your local fire department to let them know that someone in their area has myasthenia gravis. Is that something you would welcome? And I know you're speaking only for Gilbert, Arizona, because we have people from, we could even be having international people tune in today. But how do you feel about someone coming in and actually talking to you? Is that helpful, or with so many diseases out there, is that just confusing?
Yeah, especially just depending on where you're at with the disease process. So if you let me just put it this way. Yes, I would highly encourage you going to your fire station that is that you believe is closest to your residence and letting them know of your situation. Let me just put it that way. So,
Oh, that's helpful because I think because it's so rare, there's only, I don't know if you know this, Mike, there's only 60,000 people in the US that have it. So the odds of you getting that call are, probably pretty remote. So I think if we can all let our local EMS know, whatever state you're in, whatever country you're in, at least if you do get a call, that's a way we could help you, right?
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So we would highly encourage you stopping by the fire station, making sure that you give them your address and making sure that, maybe you can put a face to a name or a name to the, unfortunately, the disease process so that if that crew responds, they're familiar with who you are.
Oh, that's so helpful, Mike. Thank you.
Mhm.
Dova, do you have anything else to add?
I guess our what I'm hearing is, if you feel like you're not doing well and you feel like may have a crisis, be sure your information is somewhere where it can be seen. So put another wallet card on the refrigerator. And I think the scariest thing for the patients is when they can't speak. And it's great if they have a caregiver or they have someone there with them. But the scary thing is for them is when they don't. And then they can't speak because their diaphragm isn't working. They can't get the words out. So that is great to know, to be sure in those situations or even at all times to have things very easily accessible for the 911 responders. So I think that's fantastic. And if there's anything else, Mike, that you can think of, we think this is very valuable for all of our patients.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of, is maybe to have a paper and pen handy. With our members that we've responded to that may be deaf, I know a lot of times they may have a paper and pen handy. I don't know if that would be the same case for patients that are encountering this disease process, especially if they can't speak. But having that other communication tool in place or nearby so that we can communicate with them would definitely be very beneficial. So not only all the medical information, but also a utensil, whether it be a phone that you can communicate with, whether it be a piece of paper, an iPad, any type of device out there, would be helpful. So obviously what hinders us is not getting information. So anything that would assist us in that communication process outside of verbal communication would benefit us as your primary, medical assistance or medical needs. So.
Oh, that's excellent because, the odds are 50-50, you're going to have someone at home with you. And then again, maybe not. Or let's say you're, at the grocery store, you're at a game or something and you're by yourself. So at least if you have the opportunity to give information to the EMS, then you have a better chance of getting help.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
We appreciate this so much. It will be very helpful. We usually hear it from the patient side, and we're really happy to have you here to explain things to us from the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
So it's been very helpful. We really appreciate your time.
No, and thank you, ladies, for getting the word out there, getting the education out. We greatly appreciate it. There's nothing quite like going on a call going, okay, what is this? So if the more information that we get out, not only for the patients, but also the providers, which obviously would be us, would help us all out to the nth degree. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of it and provide this information and education.
And just know, Joan's going to come with a lot of brochures about myasthenia gravis for you all. She's going to give you lots of information so you guys will all know what it is.
No,
Right.
we welcome it, to say the least. So
Okay. Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate everything.
thank you.